We have a huge undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match. It's the beginning of the WWE World Cup, and for the first time since Crown Jewel, we see the WWE Undisputed Champion, Roman Reigns. Hey guys, how you all doing? The Wrestling Guy back here today, and welcome to another episode of SmackDown Breakdown, the series where we break down everything that happened on this week's SmackDown, talk about the matches, talk about the promos, talk about all the other bits that happened. What does this all mean leading up to our next premium live event, which is Survivor Series War Games? If you guys do go on to enjoy the content, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content we have coming up for you guys here on the channel. Without further ado, let's break down this week's episode of SmackDown. So we would kick things off with a huge undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Usos and the New Day. Now, going into this match, we all know kind of the purpose and the meaning behind this match. If the Usos win, they will overtake the New Day's reign as the longest reigning tag team champions in history. It's a big milestone, it's a big momentous occasion that will go down in history for both these teams. So there's a lot riding on this match, as well as the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. So we obviously know the New Day are currently the holders of this achievement. They are currently the longest reigning tag champions in history. And I really did like this match. We saw Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman. They were watching backstage. There were a couple of moments in the match that I really enjoyed, like the fact that they showed kind of tribute to Big E. Michael Cole was talking about Big E and his involvement in their historic run as champions, the multiple times they've won the belts, as well as obviously holding them for the longest time. Both teams, we know that these guys can put on a good match against each other. There's no denying that these two are two of the greatest teams in WWE history. The New Day didn't waste any time. They dominated the early part of this match. They took control early, which is exactly what they needed to do. We know what the Usos are like. They are, in my opinion, the number one tag team in wrestling at the minute. So the New Day were really going to have to pull something out of the bag if they wanted to pick up a win here. So some really big moments kind of back and forth. Like I said, Woods taking no time, tagging in and out with Kingston. Some really nice moves on there. But the Usos, they are absolutely spectacular. They know exactly what they needed to do. They hit a huge 1D, a double Usos splash, and they do pick up the victory. And the Usos retain the Undisputed Tag Team titles. I'm really happy with this. I think this was definitely the right move. The New Day are, like I said, a respectable tag team, but the Usos at the minute are carrying the tag titles with absolute momentum and pride, so I'm so glad that they've retained. We will see what happens in the coming weeks, so with the tag titles, hopefully we will see them split off into individuals again, because I think it's time for them to kind of separate. They kind of done what they needed to do, and I think that goes for Roman Reigns' titles as well. We could do splitting them back off onto Raw and SmackDown, but we'll see what happens. The New Day did have their fair share of offense in this match, though. We did see the Midnight Hour, which we saw some very close near falls. One thing I have got to say about the Bloodline, this goes for Roman Reigns and the Usos, is they know how to do near falls to an absolute T. I don't know if it's one of their big things they practice in their training, but they know how to do near falls. And yeah, so really cracking match. And what a great way to kick off SmackDown. I was not expecting this match to be the opener, in all honesty. So yeah, that was really good to see. Coming up next, we would have a SmackDown World Cup first round match between Shinsuke Nakamura, representing Japan, and Santos Escobar, representing Mexico. I really like this concept. This is much better than what they did a couple of years ago when they did the World Cup with obviously Shane McMahon winning. This was a much better format. Obviously, we would expect to see the other members of Legado del Fantasma come down to the ring alongside Santos Escobar. Nakamura, the veteran of the sport, would take out Del Toro and Joaquin Wilde at ringside. And it would be a fairly back and forth match between these two. On paper, this is a dream match in my opinion. Santos Escobar, absolutely fantastic. I am a huge fan of Legado del Fantasma, and Nakamura, need I say any more, Nakamura is absolutely fantastic. between these two, it was very, very close, but Nakamura would get caught in Santos Escobar's Phantom Driver, and that would result in Santos Escobar picking up the 1-2-3. So, big win there for Santos Escobar. He advances to the next round. We will see what happens. Does the winner of this World Cup actually get anything? That is the question. There's speculations that whoever wins the World Cup will be next in line for the Intercontinental Championship. So that would be interesting. We'll see what happens on there. Coming up next, we see Bray Wyatt backstage. Megan Morant, one of the broadcast journalists backstage, was interviewing LA Knight. Now we know LA Knight at the minute is going through a bit of a heel turn. He's kind of turning his back on the fans, saying about how he doesn't need the fans in order to be successful in the WWE. But he was interrupted by Bray Wyatt. I was not expecting this at all. Bray Wyatt to interrupt him backstage, and kind of a close confrontation between the two resulted in Bray Wyatt knocking him out with a headbutt. So that was interesting. This is a bit of a random first feud for Bray Wyatt. I would not have put money on LA Knight being the first person that he'd go after, but we'll see what happens. This was a really intriguing segment for me. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks if they build on this. So yeah, we shall see what happens there. But that was really interesting. So if you guys did miss that, I do recommend going and checking that one out. And let me know down below in the comment section, what do you think of this? An LA Knight and Bray Wyatt feud, maybe? Let us know down below in the comment section. Coming up next, so back in the ring, we would have our next match. It was a 6-pack challenge to determine the #1 contender for Ronda Rousey's SmackDown Women's Championship at Survivor Series. It was between Shotzi, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, Xia Li, and Lacey Evans. Now, there's some really, really good spots in this match. There's kind of different parts you can pick up about this one. We know the intense rivalry that's going on between Sonya Deville and Liv Morgan at the minute. We know, obviously, there is that chemistry between Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez at the moment. And obviously, Xia Li, Lacey Evans, they're doing fantastic jobs as well. So it was very interesting to see which way this one goes. On paper, I would have said that the winner of the match would have been Raquel Rodriguez. Was I right? We'll see as we break it down. So, as expected, Liv Morgan and Sonya Deville would go straight for each other. I don't think anyone was surprised at that. Obviously, like I said, Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez did work as a team quite a lot in this match, which you would expect. And fair play to Michael Cole, he did bring this up as well about their tag history. It didn't take long before they started introducing weapons as well. So Raquel Rodriguez would produce a table from under the ring. She would pick up Sonya Deville, set her up for a powerbomb. But Liv Morgan would hit a huge crossbody. It was a bit of a botch. It did end up with all 3 women down. It didn't quite go the way I think it kind of worked better on paper than it did in reality, but still not a bad job. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler were spotted watching backstage to see obviously who was going to win this one. We know the chemistry between Shayna and Ronda at the moment, which I absolutely love. Bit of a shame that Shayna Baszler wasn't in this match, but if you think about it, she's teaming up with Ronda Rousey at the minute. It wouldn't make any sense for her to be in this match and to win. So there were a couple of spots in this match that you thought different people were going to win, but the winner of this match was a huge shock for me, and I'm really, really happy with the result. Shotzi. So Shotzi would win the match. She will face Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's title at Survivor Series. Wow, I'm really, really impressed. Finally, Shotzi gets her shot at a title on a premium live event. I'm really, really happy with this. There's so much that you could say about this that kind of would kind of spark your interest. I don't think she's going to win. I think that unfortunately she's not quite at that level in the company where she will win the title off of someone like a Ronda Rousey. But finally, give people like Shotzi a chance. Don't use the same people. Don't use your Charlottes, your Beckys, your Bailey, and your Sashas. Obviously not Sasha Banks at the moment, but your big names you keep using all over again. Although all of those wrestlers are absolutely fantastic superstars, let's do something a little bit different. So yeah, really happy with that one. Coming up next, we would have another SmackDown World Cup match between Braun Strowman, obviously representing the USA, and Jinder Mahal representing India. So this was really, really good. Jinder Mahal would say a little bit before the match, claiming that no man would stop him on his quest to winning the World Cup. Now, one thing I did pick up on in this match is that the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal didn't actually know Braun Strowman was going to be his opponent tonight, which was interesting. So the look on Jinder Mahal's face when Braun Strowman's music hit was absolutely priceless. Would thoroughly recommend you guys go and check that out because it was a bit of a laugh. Braun Strowman obviously riding a huge wave of momentum over his win, following his win over Omos from Crown Jewel. And he would waste no time going straight after Jinder Mahal in this matchup. It was very, very one-sided. Strowman would end up winning the match. And he would... I personally think that Strowman is going to win the whole thing. And what a match Strowman and Gunther would be. That would be an absolute war. I would not hesitate in saying that one at all. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, another win for Braun Strowman. Let's see what happens going forward with him. Coming up next, we would have a scheduled match, B-Fab of Hit Row versus Selena Vega of Legado del Fantasma. Or not. So these two would make their way down to the ring. But this match would never, unfortunately, get started, as we would see the Viking Raiders make their return. And who are they flanked by? None other than Sarah Logan. We've seen the vignettes over the past couple of weeks of these. I think we all knew who they were. And this was absolutely fantastic. Logan rocking B-Fab with a huge pop-up headbutt. Absolutely fantastic, leaving them lying in the ring with the Viking Raiders and Sarah Logan, who look absolutely amazing. Their look is fantastic. With Triple H in control of these guys, I think that they could be an absolutely fantastic addition. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they were doing. To close off this week's episode of SmackDown, we would have the Bloodline come down to the ring. Now, where do I begin with this? This was absolutely chaotic but fantastic. I believe this is the first taste of what the men's War Games will look like at Survivor Series. Roman Reigns and their Bloodline would come down to the ring. They would talk about their accomplishments of Crown Jewel, obviously the Usos beating the Brawling Brutes, and Roman Reigns beating Logan Paul. The Brawling Brutes' Ridge Holland would come down to the ring with a return in Sheamus, and alongside Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre and Sheamus would come down to the ring. There would be some who believe that this may be the War Games match, which we may see the Survivor Series card, the Bloodline versus the Brutes, McIntyre and someone else. We do know it's 5-on-5, so still a few spots to be filled on there. This was a great scenario to have Sheamus come back as well. Obviously, he wanted to back up his boys, the Brawling Brutes. And Drew McIntyre coming down with them as well was a really, really nice fit. That European connection that they've got there, really, really good. Some really, really good spots in this matchup. The pop when McIntyre came out was absolutely huge. And this obviously shows that his loss at Clash at the Castle clearly hasn't taken anything away from the fans. The fans still absolutely love him. They think he's brilliant. The pop he got here was absolutely fantastic. So I think that they did a fantastic job with this. I think Roman Reigns is doing a really, really good job as the champion at the moment. And I would definitely say that he is one of the better people on SmackDown at the moment. Drew McIntyre as well, you can never argue with how good Drew McIntyre is as a competitor. He is absolutely fantastic. And obviously, Sheamus as well is brilliant. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. So that is this week's episode of SmackDown broken down for you guys. What an episode of SmackDown it was. A really, really good one on here. Really, really big things happening. Some new people returning. Some big spots happening. Please do let me know down below in the comment section, what did you guys think of SmackDown this week? And obviously join me again next week for another episode of SmackDown Breakdown. The chairman of the board will be presenting you with his Raw reaction early next week, so do keep an eye out for that one. hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.